Welcome to Forward Ladies. We are having our award writing masterclass this morning. Absolutely delighted to have Lucinda White here from Pure Awards. So nice to see you, Lucinda. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So Linda's going to talk us through how to write a winning award entry. And of course, we have our Forward Ladies Awards. The nominations and entries are open now until September. So you've got plenty of time to get your entry in, but get it in, write the best entry you can after taking on all of Lucinda's advice today. Also very happy to have Debra White with us, who is a judge on our judging panel. She is a long-time member and friend of Forward Ladies. So it's lovely to see you as well, Debra. I can't see you. I have seen you, but I can't see you now, but I know you're still there. That's fine. Lucinda, I'm going to hand over to you as our expert in award for our award writing masterclass.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much. It's an absolute honour to be involved with this today. I have had quite a lot of experience of entering clients into the Forward Ladies Business Awards. So hopefully what you'll get today will be sort of an understanding and give you a little bit more confidence as to how to go about putting your entry together. The key things to think about, top tips, use of evidence, all that kind of stuff. So we'll go through everything. But yeah, as I say, Lucinda from Pure Awards. I've been writing business awards for about 10 or 11 years now as a specialism, as an area of the business. So I have a lot of experience doing local, regional, national business awards. So hopefully that will give you a little bit of confidence into what we're doing today. So this is just a quick overview of the different services that I offer. So obviously it's the professional award writing service, check and send, which is something that you can access a bit later on as well. Do award planners to help you map out exactly what that award strategy is going to be for the 12 months and beyond as well. So, and also do some bid writing and fundraising services as well. But there we go, enough about me. Okay, so the plan for today. So first of all, we're going to look at the benefits of entering business awards. So if you're kind of on the edge, you're not quite sure if you really should be putting this much time into it, you know, what are we really going to get as a return on that investment? And we'll just cover that very briefly. We'll look at some time management tips, because time is absolutely of the essence. It may be quite a while until the actual deadline date, but a lot's happens over the summer period, as we all know, as busy people and as busy women in business. So managing your time effectively and efficiently to make sure this is done to the best abilities is absolutely critical. Looking at the right categories, how to choose the category. If you're a little bit on the fence and don't know which way to go, then obviously looking at the best category for you. We're going to be hearing from Debra, the judge's insight, which is going to be valuable information for you as well, as to exactly what's going on in the judges' minds and what they're looking for this time. We'll look at some top tips, how to construct the entry, you know, breaking it down, making sure that you've got everything together in the right place, and it's going to really impress them and make your entry stand out. How you use evidence, what kind of evidence we're looking for, and then additional support services that we can provide here at Pure Awards, and then any Q&A at the end. If there's anything to cover at the end, then you know, obviously please put your hand up. I will try and look at the chat and things as it comes in, and if you've got your hand up and things, I'm not sure I'll be able to see if you've got that, but please do, if you've got any questions, put them into the chat box and we'll have a look at them at the end. We can cover those. If they've already been covered, absolutely great. If they haven't, we can touch on them then. So we should be finishing about 11. I don't expect it to run over much more than that at all, you know, but if we do, I understand if people have to jump off at the last minute. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so really, why entering awards is good for business? There's lots of fantastic reasons why entering awards is good for business. It's the process just as much as the shortlist, just as much as the winning. So I think it's really valuable activity to do for you and the business to really hone down exactly what you've done in your business in the last 12 to 18 months, how that's made an impact, and start documenting that information so that you can take that forward, not only to make better business decisions going forward, but you know, to ensure that you're celebrating the wins that you've had already. So it absolutely enhances your reputation and your company profile. You know, if you're wanting to get in front of a particular audience, you're wanting to showcase the innovation, the product, the new service that you've got, then this is a perfect platform for you to do that. If you've got teams around you, got employees, absolutely, it's going to help them get more motivated. It's going to help them drive their business, drive your business forward, be more impactful in themselves going forward as well. So, you know, it really has a massive effect on employees and the strength and everything that they can bring to the table as well if you've been shortlisted. And then, of course, if you go on and win. Delivers that benchmark of excellence. So again, if you're looking at your competition, you know, you're going to be elevated to that that place where you're at the forefront of people's minds. You're going to be the company that people want to work with. Gives you that industry recognition. Now, of course, when you've won the award, what you don't need to do is just go and sit back and go, yeah, we've won. We don't need to do any more now. We're all right for the next few years. Absolutely not. What you need to do now is work even harder to retain that position, to ensure that you are still progressing, you're still moving forward, and you are still being recognised as being worthy of that winner. The last thing the judges and anybody wants to do is to award an award to a company that then falls flat on their face the following year. So, you know, you've got to continue and work harder and be mindful of that and respect the fact that you've been given that huge accolade there. You know, take that forward in your business and drive it. Gives you that chance to review and analyze the business. And that's really, really important. I know that a lot of companies, they go, oh, you know, we've never forgotten we've done that. You know, oh, yeah, we've done this. And how fantastic was that? And, oh, yeah, we need to recognize those people. Oh, that was a great service. Look at the financial figures around that. We've not really looked at that before. You know, so there's opportunities here to really delve deep and go deeper into the whole workings of your business, pulling out the really important parts, recognizing, remembering, reflecting, and then putting that into action into the award entry to start celebrating that. There's lots and lots of PR opportunities, whether that's from the local newspaper, the magazines, industry press, you know, whether it's through all your socials, you know, there's so many opportunities to make the most of winning and being part of an awards program like this. So absolutely find out the different ways you can maximize it, create the strategy, write the press releases as if you've already won, put it out there into the universe. I'm a bit of a believer of the law of attraction. You know, get those things in place so that you're fully prepared to maximize all those PR opportunities as they come around. The positive actions that you're going to be doing as part of this process of putting this entry together, you know, it's going to be making you more productive and you're going to be able to progress further. And of course, we're going to all in business to make some money, whether it's to put back into an organization to help beneficiaries, or whether it's to make profit for ourselves and our teams and our communities around us. You know, we're there to have that financial return. So it is a proven fact that, you know, winning awards will help you develop your financial return. You know, there are statistics around that which will help you identify that, and also make you realize that actually this is worth the effort, it is worth the time, and actually I'm going to make a really good job of it. So one of those stats is this: it's 80% of people who make the buying decisions will choose from an award-winning business. So just think about that. You know, are you an award-winning business? Have people come to you because of that? Naturally, we want to be associated with success. So all we want to do is then go and we're naturally, you know, kind of identify those award-winning businesses and go, oh, well, if somebody else has said that's good, then they must be good. So I want to work with them as well. So it all flows together and it really does make an impact. And certainly you should get more traffic, you should get more sales inquiries and things if you are marketing yourself, of course, as an award-winning business once you've won. This is quite an interesting stat. So this is a few years ago now, but when Lidl released their award-winning Christmas gins, the searches for them went up by 732%. It's a massive amount. So just by shouting about the fact that they've got an award-winning product, increase the searches for that product, which ultimately will have led to more sales as well. Okay, so first things first, we need to kind of go, yeah, okay, these awards are great, this is fine, but what do we need to do first? First of all, I suggest we move the deadline. So we'll look at the deadline in a little bit and see when that is. It is in September. My suggestion is you bring it forward by a couple of weeks. We've got months to play with here, not just weeks. So you can bring it forward by a couple of weeks to the beginning of September to make sure or even into August, to make sure you've got that extra bit of time to do any editing, proofreading, adjusting, or even adding some information into there that you might have just had this massive win in the summer, and you need to include that into the entry as well. I would suggest, if you've never written an award entry before, you block out around 12 hours in the diary to do your preliminary work, to do your research, collating of the information, collecting of your testimonials, your evidence, etc., the writing, and then also the proofreading as well. So that will give you that chance to gather that evidence, write that entry, get that proofreading done, and prepare all the supporting material as well as you'll need it. So some time management tools. If you're kind of aware of some time management tools, then fantastic. For those of you who aren't, these would be really useful. So planning, obviously the 10-to-1 rule. So for every hour of planning you put in, then you should get 10 hours back in the long run. Now, this can apply to actually writing the entry in itself as well. So in effect, once you've drafted your very first entry, that will allow you to enter more and more awards across the next year using that same copy, obviously updating it and reworking it to adjust it to the criteria that's needed. So you do get the time back. It's about investing in the time now to make sure that you get the best return. Avoidance behavior. Now, we're all, I am sure, guilty of going, I'm just going to send this email, I'm just going to have a quick coffee, I'll just nip to the loo, and then I'll do that. And then, of course, you get sidetracked and then things come through, other emails come in. What you have to do is stop doing that avoidance behavior and just focus on doing this award entry to the best of your ability, using things like the single handling technique. Now, that in itself helps you be massively more productive. I think it's something like, it's about 33% more efficient in your time, possibly more. If you just imagine yourself, or are able to put yourself into a room with just your laptop or your phone, and your phone's off, the Wi-Fi is off, you've got all the evidence and everything that you need together to put this entry together, and you focus on doing it in sections. So you say, right, I'm going to answer the first question, I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to move from this spot until it's at the absolute point where it's the most, it's an award ready response that I'm really happy with. You do that and you'll get into a flow, you'll create that single handling technique where you just focus entirely on that, and you'll be much more efficient. You can then apply that to other parts of the award entry in itself. So I would absolutely advise looking into that as a technique to be able to help manage your time efficiently when doing this. Obviously, all of these can be applied to every other part of your workplace environment, not just the awards, but these are good ones to focus on for the award. And of course, anyone who knows anything about Eat That Frog, this is, Brian Tracy, he's like time management guru. There's a book all about it, and it is absolutely ingenious. And it's very, very simple. If you imagine this award entry is this really nasty, slimy, disgusting, smelly frog on your desk, and the longer you leave it to actually get it done, the bigger and more disgusting it's going to get. So what you have to do in the morning, or your most efficient time, is eat that frog. So ideally, get rid of that, and then you can focus on everything else that you need to do in your normal day-to-day job. So that's the process around it. That's the kind of theory around it. Start putting it into action, put the awards at the top of the Eat That Frog list, and just start ticking it off each time you do it. And you will feel so much more productive, and you will get it done much more efficiently. So ultimately, from this session today, we want you to be writing away like this, like little busy bee here, because we really don't want you to miss the boat like these guys did. It is so important to make sure that you're fully prepared. And I do go on about this quite a lot, but in a perfect scenario, we'd have loads of time and there would be no deadlines, but then we'd never get anything done. So, the focus is to make sure that everything's in place at the right time, and that you are working as to that deadline as effectively as you can. So these are the techniques to be able to help you get there. So, okay, so here we go. We've got the deadline dates here. So we've got the entries that opened on the 8th of March, which was International Women's Day. The deadline is actually 8th of September. So like I said earlier, if we move the deadline bring that forward a couple of weeks. So we're looking at possibly middle of August would be a really good deadline date to have it nailed, have it over, perhaps have it sent to a proofreader at that point so that somebody else can review it and make comments, and you've got time to adjust it. And also allowing for obviously school holidays and things. If anybody's got kids, you know, your demands are different over the 6 weeks holidays, you know, and you are expected to do other things other than sit in work and do all your business stuff. So there's lots of other things going on. So it is good and mindful if you can, which we've got the beauty of a bit of time here to be able to play with, to move that deadline. The shortlist is then announced at the end of September. That is an opportunity to really be engaged with everything on social platforms, make the most of it, really get in there, start following the other entrants, start following the other shortlisted companies, you know, celebrate them, and they will in turn celebrate you. And together, you know, you can make this awards program as fantastic as it has been over the years. There is a live judging day, and that's on the 5th of October. So obviously you need to make sure that you've got that clear in your diary now. So please make sure that that is marked out. You just don't know, but again, it's a bit of a law of attraction thing. Put it in the diary to make sure that you've got that space there to allow for that. And then we've got the brilliant awards summit and the leadership summit and the awards evening on Friday, the 24th of November down in London. So again, and a huge celebration of success, of business, of women in business, of leadership, and everything to do with it. So absolutely fantastic program of activity there. There is plenty of time. We've got lots of time, you say. So, you know, let's get moving. It's great that we've done this early on in the program timeline, because it gives you plenty of time to get working on it. And hopefully the last-minute.coms, of which I can often be guilty of, I'm not perfect by any means, you know, they often do come in on that Friday the 8th. But, you know, think that's how things play out. If you're at that point, you're struggling, if you're getting to the point where you're needing some additional support, it's coming into July, then please just, you know, get in touch, because we will be there to help support you. The last thing we want is for you to come on this, invest your time here, and then not put your entry together and not get yourself over the line to put it in. So please, please access the support that you've got here today. Okay, so for those of you who are looking at the categories and not quite sure how to go about which category to choose, obviously there's some quite clear-cut ones in terms of whether you're a startup, whether you're an entrepreneur, or whether you're career women. There are differentiators there, obviously, which is fine. But I would say when you're looking at the categories, what you need to focus on really, before you really do anything, is really review your last 12 months and start writing down your top achievements, the success stories in that time, and really remember, you know, what you did, how you did it, why you did it, and what's the outcome of what you've done as well. What's the impact been? Because that's really important from an evidence perspective as well. So start documenting those things down, and that will really make a difference to where you're going to position yourself in the awards. So what does that journey look like? You know, prepare that timeline of events. You know, what has the success enabled you to achieve? Is it been financial growth? Have you had new teams? Have you invested in that equipment, expanded, innovated? You know, what is it that you've done with the success? You know, start looking at that, maybe do spider diagrams, or just documenting it down online on a Word document or whatever. Whatever's the best way for you to make notes on that. But use it and then start adding to it as you're going along as well. That can be your starting block, really, of what your success and what your journey has been like in your business over the last 12 months, but also for the future as well. We really need to know what makes you different, you know, as an individual, as a business. So we really want to know what about your, you know, what's your USP? What your marketplace looks like. So where do you sit in your marketplace? You know, how many other people do what you do on a local level, regional, national level? You know, what is it that makes you the best at what you do in your industry? Why do customers come to you and not to anybody else? Why have customers come back to you, or why have they come to you and they refuse to go back to them because they're giving a bad service? You know, what is it that makes people come to you and makes you successful over and above anybody else? So the categories, like we said, they're quite clear in what they're asking for. There's no huge big criteria points from the category descriptions. There is more detail that's needed when you actually get into the entry form, which we'll cover shortly. But these are the entrepreneur categories. So, you know, whether you're a startup, a female entrepreneur, startup is, you've got 5 years of trading for a startup. That's quite unusual. Most awards only say like 3 years at the most. So to have 5 years, that's fantastic, because that really gives you a chance to, you know, kind of show how the business has flourished in those 5 years. Because yeah, it's especially been a tough time over COVID years and things. And if you started a business in COVID, it should be quite different to what it is now. You know, and there'll be a massive difference in growth and all sorts of things that will have gone on. So that really gives you an opportunity to show that journey over a 5-year period, which is great. The female entrepreneur is obviously been trading for more than 5 years. Again, it's about clear growth. It's about how you are really maximizing and pushing forward as a business and really driving things as a female in your industry and sector. Disruptors and innovators. You know, what is your unique approach to solving the problems and product innovation? You know, this is a great one if you're really doing something that's quite unique and quite different and pushing the boat out there and really making a difference, particularly if it's against in a male dominated industries and things as well. That's a really exciting one to go for. And then obviously we want to celebrate the young entrepreneurs in our teams as well. So, you know, and in our industries and sectors. So for those of you who are under 30, you know, really doing some incredible work, then really, you know, this is a fantastic one to get there. Even if, as long as you're 30, I think, under 30 at the time of the entry, going in at the 8th of September, I think you're eligible for this. So you may be 30 following that, but if it's under 30, that's what we're really looking at anyway. So I know that that's fine. So corporate categories, these are the female leaders, rising stars in the companies. So, you know, you may be the entrepreneur, you might have somebody in your team who's really pushing forward, really showing some incredible work and opportunities for others, driving the business, the mission, the purpose forward. So this is, you know, fantastic opportunities here to put them forward for these awards. You know, if you're a leadership role, transformational leader is a wonderful one. 15 years of experience in leadership. So be clear that you've got that level of experience in there first. And also evidence of mentoring as well. So that's really important as part of that particular category. The emerging leader was going to slightly less than 15 years, you know, or a large or a small organization. But if you are showing the skills of being really progressive in what you're doing and pushing forward, demonstrating massive leadership potential, then this is a perfect one for you. And I'm sure there's lots of women out there who would be perfect for that. So STEM leader, again, it's science, technology, engineering, mathematics. You know, this is really where you can really shine the light on all those women who are in those naturally more male dominated industries, and showing good pathways and career role models for other young women who are coming into those industries and really shining as well. And then rising star is obviously celebrating those at the beginning of their career. Now, they don't necessarily need to be young, but it's a beginning of a career or a new industry. So this isn't just for the young people. This is necessarily, you know, somebody who's changed and then suddenly is turning into a rising star in a new industry or sector. Joint categories here. So we've got entrepreneurs and career women. Any of them can go for these. We've got the inspiring mentor, does what it says on the tin. You know, it's about developing those future leaders, really going outside the box, pushing them forward, helping them, supporting, nurturing them, giving them those opportunities to develop in themselves. Education and academic leaders, again, within academia and also education sector, you know, these are celebrating those individuals who are really, really providing such fantastic role models for other women in the workplace and in those particular sectors. You know, really doing some change, developing, bringing new ideas, initiatives into play as well. Social impact, you know, it's about creating those services, the positive social impact for, you know, the communities around them and the individuals and the businesses or the sectors. So again, really focused on helping kind of highlight the importance of social impact for those people, and showing those individuals who are going forward. The public and third sector leaders, those obviously particularly been volunteering, or have, you know, been working in charitable industries, charitable organisations, or public sector. So, you know, they've worked so hard in these, just as we do in all our other commercial businesses as well. So it's about really recognising those individuals and making sure that they get the reward from doing the award. And then the last ones is the Businesswoman of the Year. So this is from the judges' perspective, the woman who has just really absolutely smashed it out the park. You know, and this is announced on the actual evening itself. So this isn't a shortlist as such. This is a recognition on the night for the women or the individual who has really proved themselves to be just incredible in all areas of what they do. And that special one for the ones to watch, for those showing complete promise and potential for the future. You know, these are really strong ones. So be mindful when you're putting your entry together that you are trying to win one of these as well. So be aware of the criteria for these when you're doing your copy for the other part, because ultimately they'll have the winners and then it'll be the winners of the winners. You know, and that will be how it's judged. So then they'll be reflecting on, you know, these particular bits of criteria for that. So be mindful of that and try and touch on that a little bit in your copy. Okay, so some of the things that the judges will be working towards. Now, you don't need to write all of these down, because what we'll do is put some screenshots together for you and send that over as a PDF with some of the key slides and things. So don't need to be writing all of these down. So because there's quite a lot on this slide and people always get busy in writing down. So these are some of the key points, key things that obviously the judges will be looking for. It won't be relevant for every single entry or every single one, but just be aware of some of the language that's being used so that you can include that and make sure that you're touching on that as well. So has anybody got any questions so far about what's been covered? Anything about the categories or anything like that? If not, we shall move on. So I think that's absolutely fine. Like I say, if there's things in the chat box, the frog's making me feel queasy. Oh, okay, Christina King. Yes. So if you want to, do you want to unmute yourself and just ask the group? Or do you want to put it into here?
Oh. No, I didn't know I could unmute myself. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, yeah, I can, thank you.
Yeah, so I was writing some just a couple of questions down as I was going through it. And the first question is, you know, I think you said right at the beginning, you're like, what, you know, summarize what you've done in the last kind of 12 months. But what if kind of things have, you know, you're not gone for award for a few years, there's other activities that could feed into that. You know, what is the timeline really of kind of what should be going into an award? Because when you see people, like, they've done amazing things and they haven't clearly done that in the last year, but what's your thought on that?
Yeah, so really the award is around the last 12 months of what you've done, because ultimately otherwise we'd have just one award every 5 years and then you'd be able to document that. What we need to do is kind of set the scene. So it's important to understand the bigger picture of what you've done and be able to bring that in. But it's really important to just focus on the success, the key achievements, and everything should be in the last 12 months. That's my interpretation of it. Maybe Norwood ladies might think differently, but you know, it really is. That's why it's on an annual basis. So it's celebrating the achievements in the last 12 months. But that doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't say, you know, we've been very successful. We're a multi-award winning business. We've done this in the past, but in the last 12 months, these are the key things that we've done that have been really successsul. So I would frame it like that.
Yeah. Oh no, that's really good advice. I've never really got that before. So that's quite key. And I suppose the other question that I had is, you know, how kind of, because there's lots of things that's happening as a business and the growth, and you're part of that, but how is it more kind of, it's got to be kind of your activity specifically with the evidence of how you've kind of, you know, made some of that happen?
Yes, I mean, these are very much individual awards. They are about celebrating the individual. So, you know, are you a business owner or a leader in the business?
Yeah, so chief commercial officer in an engineering business. So, you know, growing rapidly on the board. You know, there's lots happening at the same time. There's, you know, I'm leading the commercial side of it and the market kind of drive.
So you have a lot to say about how you've been part of that, and probably influenced and implemented quite a lot of ideas yourself as well, which is great. So yeah, I would say it's very much about you. You're obviously shining the light on the business as well, you know, and celebrating the business achievements and things, but it's very much focused on you as an individual. What have you done? How have you influenced? How have you impacted on the decision making for the business to go forward? So yeah, try and keep it very focused on you.
Yeah, thank you.
Which is often hard for us to do because we're British, one, and women too, you know. It's kind of like it pushes us out of our comfort zones, but you know, this is an opportunity to do that and to celebrate and achieve the results for it as well, for you and the business.
Lovely, thank you.
Okay, anybody else got any questions? Okay, right, okie dokes. Well, I would now like to introduce our lovely judge, who we've got Debra White here. So thank you, Debra, for coming on board today and being part of this.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, fantastic. So I've just got a few questions to go through, and I think you'll easily be able to answer these with your experience and knowledge of being part of and being supportive of Forward Ladies as an organisation, from being involved with HSBC, etc. as well. So so just give us an idea, what are the judges actually looking for this year? So
I want to say just good luck to everybody as well. We're looking for that special someone who has the real core values, has got a positive impact on their business, and importantly the people within it as well, and the local community. I think it's really key about the local community. We need to fully see the business, but importantly the person behind it as well. And as you mentioned, it is about the individual awards. Obviously looking for somebody trailblazing, role model, somebody who empowers others and has the ability to delegate when needed. You mentioned mentoring. I think that's key as well. And somebody who develops talent and has a clear and inspiring vision of the future. Being their authentic self as well, but drives their business and takes the people with them. So it's just an all-round sort of wonderful person we're looking for, really.
Yeah, which
there's
is
lots of them about. Lots of them about.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I mean, that really touches on what makes a strong or winning entry as well, is being able to bring that out and create that narrative around it, isn't it?
Yes. You see, we as judges, we only see the application, and sometimes it can be frustrating because we know there's more to that person, but they've just sold themselves short. So for us, it's important that you really sell yourself. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Sell yourself in your business. Tell your story in detail. And it is sometimes good to get that background as well. And whilst we're looking at the last 12 months, actually, if you want to give us some background around what's made you the person you are today within that application, that always helps. Include the testimonials as well. I think that's really, really important. Sharing the success stories, robust examples, I think you've mentioned that, and evidence. What's made you that person today? But also it's important to look at the things that have maybe gone wrong and how you've overcome them as well. I think that sometimes that shows that, you know, the depth of the person and how it's molded them into what they are and the success that they are today. So I think it's good to do that as well. Yeah. Ensure all the elements of the application are filled in. So, you know, make sure that you're covering every element as well, which is really good. And what the future may look like, put something like that in as well, what your future plans are. Draft it and come back to it. And share, I think you've mentioned that, Lucinda, share and ask for feedback as well, and use today's great feedback. You know, feedback is a gift, you must use it as well. Proofread it. And if you think it's irrelevant, it might not be. So we've seen lots of applications where, as I say, they're just not selling themselves. So I think it's really vital that you believe in yourself, you don't rush it, you get to the times, and you know, I think it's really important, and I love the, you know, the eat the frog. That's absolutely perfect. But don't undersell yourself, please. Really don't undersell yourself, because, you know, you've got to believe in yourself. And I think that's really important, and that comes across in the applications. So that's what a real success would look like for us as judges.
Yeah. Is there anything else that perhaps the entrants shouldn't do that you haven't?
Well, don't rush it. Really don't rush it, and then just send it in. And like I say, it's, as well, sometimes it's a bit, text speak can sometimes not be as appropriate in there. But again, you know, we want you to be you, and I think that's really important. But don't undersell yourself. Don't undersell yourself. Don't rush it. And at the end of the day, what we're looking for is the real you. So, you know, be open and honest, but include everything. So don't rush it, and don't undersell yourself. I can't say it enough.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody got any questions for Debra specifically around her experience and knowledge? But all of those been fantastic points that have been raised. Absolutely. It's hard to get all of that into the word count. And that's the biggest challenge. You know, if we've got, say, 4,000 words, it would be a huge, great big dissertation essay on your life history and everything. It's not that. You don't get that chance. So it is about being succinct, but getting all those points and that passion across as well, which is really important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so we've just got a question here from Helen, just saying, when encouraging others how to enter, how to keep the momentum going. Open in March, close in September. Feels quite a long time to keep the interest going. It does, but actually, as we know, I mean, how quickly is this year gone already? We're already the middle of April. It's a little bit scary, to be honest. I think that, you know, we've already done over a quarter of the year. You know, so actually keeping that momentum, get started now, have a look at it, and then just map some time out in the diary to revisit it, and then eat the frog on that day of doing the award entry on that day. So make sure that, you know, you're constantly revisiting. You don't have to submit it now. What you need to do is start preparing it now. So make it an action plan. It's, at the moment, it's an important but not urgent. It'll soon become important and urgent the closer you get to the deadline. So it's just about having it listed, you know, having that time mapped out in the diary to make sure it happens, really. And just keeping focused on those stats. You know, it's like, how much business do we want from this? A small business can have a financial return of up to 39% increase in sales turnover. So if you apply that and just think, what's 39% of my sales income right now? What would that mean if we were to win this award? What does that look like? That figure look like in a few years, you know, in a year's time, when we've won the award and we've really reaped the benefit from it? What's that figure going to look like then? And you could then say, right, okay, that's a reason to keep motivated from a financial perspective, from a team perspective, and from an industry recognition and reputation perspective as well. So I think I'd focus on all of those. Okay, so we've got the judges. Is it self-nominating, or can we nominate other women? So we're going to go on to that bit now, which is great. So here we go. So now that we go to the more of the logistics of what happens. So this is where you answer this question. So nominating, you can nominate somebody else, or you can go straight into the entry form and start nominating yourself. If you're nominating yourself, you can write it yourself, or you can use somebody else to write it for you. Entirely up to you. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you've got that passion, and that the writer is almost morphing themselves into you to be able to write as if it's you. So you can do it in first or third person. I would suggest you probably do it in first person, because then it feels more like it's you, you know. But if you are writing and nominating somebody else, and you're writing that entry about them and they maybe don't know, then obviously you'd be writing it in third person about them and their achievements and successes. So in this, the nomination form is very straightforward for this. You only have 50 words though, and there's 3 key points there that you need to make sure that you're covering. So how has her work impacted others? How does she inspire others? And what obstacles has she overcome? So those are the key things there. It's you know, make sure you answer all 3. you've only got maybe not even 20 words each for each part, but it's important to get that feel. And then the team at Forward Ladies will then ask for further information for putting that full entry together as well. So the core entry questions, when you get to that point, this is what they look like. Now, these are the key things that you need to make sure that you're covering no matter what. Be mindful of the criteria outline and what they're asking for on a bigger picture, but these are the key questions. So first part, 200 words. There's quite a lot to put in there. Leadership, strategic direction, personal resilience. Again, showing that individual what they've overcome, where the career path has come from, you know, what they're doing now, and the greatest business achievement to date. That might be a couple of things, but be mindful you've only got 200 words. So you may want to touch on that and then include it a little bit more description in the other question 4, where you've got up to 500 words to elaborate on that a little bit more. Commercial awareness, you've got 500 words for that, which is great. So this is why you've entered that category, shining flag on why you should be considered a finalist. So that's when you need to refer back to your criteria of what that overview of that category is, and make sure that you're reflecting that in your response here. Obviously highlighting the successes, achievements, and, you know, evidencing everything, excuse me, making sure that it's really strong. Community impact. Now, I admit this is, for me, is probably one of the hardest ones when I've been writing for my clients, because they're so busy in their businesses. They often don't have time outside of their businesses to be able to do lots of other things. But if you, or the lady or person you're putting forward for this award is a really strong role model for other people outside of the day-to-day work stuff, or they're really mentoring, they're getting involved with outreach programs, they're doing lots of volunteering, they're local schools, they're on the PTA, they're in the community groups, you know, make sure you've got all that information to hand. If they don't know that you're putting them forward for this award, then, you know, find ways, ask the, you know, the partner, ask the people around them, their friends and things like that, to find out what other stuff they do, because this is a really strong element of it, about how they actually are going above and beyond what they do in their day-to-day role to help other women progress and develop and be successful in their own right as well. And then the last question is it's the extra stuff. So it's where you can put your testimonials in there. You can put all that additional evidence information that you may not have had chance to put in there because you've run out of word count. But that's where you can really do maybe a case study, that robust evidence and information that proves that, you know, this person is a real trailblazer in certain way. You know, that's where you could maybe explain some of the other nominations that they've had, or the awards that they've won, or other key achievements that they've got. So overall, it just gives the judges a really big picture of who that individual is, who you are as an individual, what your achievements have been, and how successful, and why you absolutely should be winning that entry. So for the entrepreneurs, it's just really important to make sure that you are aware of the additional compulsory items that you need to put in. So you've got to put in your financial performance for the business as an entrepreneur. You've got to attach a copy of your financial performance and upload anything else, you know, links, references, that sort of thing. So there is an opportunity there, and that's particular for the entrepreneur category. So when you're looking at how to construct the entry, the first point of call is always looking at what the actual question is. And it's a bit like GCSE English: read the question, read it again, and read it again, because then you will actually start to understand what it's actually asking you for. Then I would divide that by the word count. So the key specific criteria points, there might be 2, there might be 3 in there. Divide that by the word count to make sure you're allocating enough word count for each point. Otherwise, you're going to go do far too much on one and leave you just with 20 words left to do the next. And it's not going to give the full picture of what you need for the judges to look at. You can use subheadings within the frame to frame the answers. So if you've got your criteria points, reduce it down and just use maybe a 1-word subheading to help frame it, so that the judges know, oh, you're answering that. Oh, they've answered that. right, they've answered that. It's nicely structured, it's nicely laid out, and it makes it really easy for them to understand and read through. So as an example here of the Startup Award, for instance, so the first part of it is the highlighted part. Obviously, that's the first element in blue, and then the second element is the greatest achievement. So like I say, for that, you've got 200 words. So you've got thereabouts 100 words per section for that. You might go over on one slightly or under, but if you work on that being your key kind of focus for that amount of word count, for that amount of information that's needed, that will help you structure that first question. Again, the commercial awareness one, you've got 500 words for that. You've got why have you entered the category, the evidence of that success, and the reasons why you should be considered as a finalist. That's where you really want to be showcasing, pushing forward, really shouting about why you meet all of that fantastic criteria for that, and also potentially for those special awards as well, if you remember. So make sure that you're breaking it down. That's in your own mind. It doesn't need to be absolutely rigid on that, but it just gives you a framework to make sure that you are answering those questions fully. And then the last one is how you personally are supporting other women. And then the second one is and how you're supporting the wider community as a role model. So you can quite clearly differentiate those two sections, and it's 100 words per section. Again, you haven't got much to play with in terms of word count here. So what you need to do is be really, really specific, really focused, but also bring out the passion, which is a fine balance on the two without it being too clinical. And then, of course, you've got your last question, which is 500 words for anything else you want to add. So if you want to expand on any points here, add the testimonials and things, that's the opportunity to do that. So, like I said, you've got some key points here. So either first or third person, as long as you decide which one it is, just stick to it throughout. That's all we ask, really. Begin with that really strong evidence-based statement where you can. You know, kind of make sure that the judges want to read more, that they're interested, that, you know, they go, wow, this is somebody I really want to find out more about. You know, you want to wow the judges, you want to make them want to read more and engage with you as an individual and understand everything about you. You've got to explain as fully as you can, obviously within the word count, every part of the criteria points, so don't miss anything out. Establish that key evidence to back up the claim. So is it some financial figures? Is it statistics? Is it evidence in terms of testimonials? Is it Trustpilot reviews? Is it, you know, customer service reviews? Is it things that you've done, other awards that you've won? You know, what evidence is it there that's needed to back up those important, strong claims that you're making? And tell that story. Really do tell the story and try to make it as kind of as much flow as possible so that the judges can really engage with it and understand where you come from, what your journeys look like, what those challenges have been along the way, because with everything, there's always a challenge. It's how you overcome that. How resilient have you been? How much have you kind of then flipped that on its head and made something positive out of it? You know, tell that story and make it come to life. Some more top tips. So less is more. We want to be clear, straight to the point. You know, you don't have huge amounts of word count, so it is really important to make sure that you're fitting everything in. What you'll find when you start drafting is you'll go way over word count. That's absolutely fine. It's in draft, it's not a problem. Then you'll start cutting words out. Then you'll get to a point where you're at 201 words and it's the maximum is 200. It won't allow you to go any further. So you just have to rework an entire sentence sometimes to do that. So you have to allow yourself time to make sure that happens. Bring those case studies and testimonials into play. They're really important because it isn't just, you know, you saying this is what you've done. It's a real life example of what you've done and how it's been impactful for other people in their business or in their teams or in their role in themselves. Try to avoid jargon, you know, the acronyms, the colloquialisms. Don't be too overly familiar. It's not a conversation. It is a professional marketing literature and speech. So you need to make sure that what you're putting out there is done to the most professional way that you can. You know, you've got to show that passion, professionalism, and also punctuation. So this is an example of why less is more here. So after liquidating his indebtedness, he was still in possession of sufficient funds to establish a small commercial enterprise. Either that, which is very convoluted and not really what we need to say, just after paying his debts, he still had enough money to set up a small business. Absolutely fine. Really clear, lots of less word count, less adjectives going on there and descriptions and things, really focus it down. And that's where your editing and proofreading part will come into play really, really strong. Spelling, grammar, punctuation, it's not going to be a deal breaker, but it is helpful for the judges to understand exactly what you're talking about and the way that you're talking about it. So, the example there, let's eat grandpa. We don't want to eat grandpa. We just want to go and have food with grandpa instead. So, it's important. Again, it's not a deal breaker, but try to look for that and see where it might be slightly confusing for the judges to think, oh no, that's not quite right. So again, use that proofreader and that support where you can. You must be honest and truthful. The judges have a due diligence to check up all the claims and the figures and the facts that you put in there. They will go to Companies House if they need to. They will look online. They'll see your social profiles and things. They'll see what you're doing. They'll see your website. They will have an understanding. Perhaps they know you as a business. They will only judge you on what you put in your entry, as Deborah has said. That's the only thing that's there. So you have to make sure that what's there is absolutely truthful. When you're invited for an interview, they'll go through it with a fine tooth comb, pick out the things they want, and a bit, not quite as bad as Dragon's Den, I don't think, but they will kind of go through things with you and ask you to explain and expand on certain things that you put in there, and that's absolutely fine. So you need to make sure that it's absolutely from the heart and it's truthful. Bullet points. This is a great way to, if you've got more than 3 reasons to demonstrate why you're meeting a particular criteria, you might want to use some bullet points to use. This is the way that we've achieved this, da 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 da. That helps to frame it nicely. It keeps your word count down, and it gives you an opportunity to add more things in there without it being a bit too overflowing with long sentences. It is, like I say, it's important to show the impact. So whether that's, whether you show it in pound note signs, whether you show it in percentage growth, we want to be looking at, customer retention, growth, social media followers, how that's grown, survey results, whether you've got the reviews, employee numbers, staff testimonials, star ratings. It's about you and how you've implemented things, but the impact is felt by the business and the wider teams around you. So, that's perfectly legitimate to bring those facts and figures in from something that you have then implemented at the beginning. It's your idea, you've done this, and this has been the benefit to the business, which has helped us drive forward in whatever way. So this is an example from a few years ago now that one of the entries. So this is how we use the bullet points. This is how we use the evidence of the stats and the figures. And, we framed it really easily for the judges to understand. This is what happened. This is their attrition rate, and it was just really easy. So kind of look at something along this lines to help frame it, basically, and just gives you an example there of how it worked well for a particular award entry. Okay, has there got any questions? Because we're really sort of at the end there. Is there anything anybody else has got to ask about any part of the awards, the entry forms or anything like that? If there isn't, then I do have
Lucinda, just before you do that, sorry, it's Anna Marie. We've actually got with us a winner from last year. Carlotta was last year's emerging leader winner, and it's so nice to see you here, Carlotta. Are you there? Could you say hello?
Hi everyone.
Hi, so nice to see you. How are you?
Congratulations on your win from last year.
Thank you so much, and thank you for taking us through all this content. It's actually very interesting, like hearing it after having submitted it, because it makes you think like, oh, like I actually did that without really like knowing, or oh, I could do this better next time, and include like some of those things. So yeah, thank you very much.
So what's been your biggest benefit then? Sorry,
Same question. Yeah.
What was it? Sorry.
what has been your biggest benefit of winning the award then since winning? So
yeah, so it's actually been very interesting from a perspective of like career growth, like outside of you know, my day-to-day. Actually like being contacted to give some talks, for example, and like being on more panels, and actually getting some private clients reaching out as well for, you know, some coaching in specific areas. So like it really offers like so much exposure, and it really puts you in positions that allow you to like stretch yourself and almost like do things that otherwise, you know, you wouldn't really put yourself out to.
Oh, that's
to do.
fantastic. Yeah, I think it's the additional opportunities that this helps elevate you as an individual and in your role and things as well, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
brilliant to hear that. That's great. So fantastic. Okay, so just to finish off then, if anybody does need any assistance with their entries at all, you know, obviously the date on there is wrong. Attention to detail, Lucinda. So £99 if you would like a proofread of your entry before it goes to the judging panel. The deadline for the drafts obviously is not the 1st of October because that would be way past it, and also that was last year's date as well, so I apologise on that. But if you do have them, then ideally, you know, kind of towards the end of middle of August will be absolutely fine. We can map it out. If you want to book it in now and get it timelined, then that's not a problem at all. You know, then you've got me then badgering you going, how are you doing? So perhaps that might help with the motivation between now and September to make it happen. Also, if you need support and you think, actually, I really want to do this, but I don't have the time and I'm not sure I've got the skills, please, I think I need to get Lucinda in to help support, or somebody else who can do some fantastic award writing as well. But obviously, if you want to engage with myself to assist you with this, then please do. My details are there. And yeah, I'd love to link in with you on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and now on Instagram as well, which is always fun. So yeah, if anybody would like to connect with me on those platforms, then please do. And if anybody's got any other things that they want to talk about beyond this, then please get in touch and we can set up a call. If you've got any questions, want to run through anything about your entry individually, more than happy to have that call and give you that support. So I think that's it from me. So just say thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been so lovely, really insightful. And obviously, last year was my first experience of awards with Forward Ladies, and it was amazing to see all the fantastic entries and everything we got, but also to see where you could really see in real life where you said, oh, I feel like there's so much behind this, but they haven't put it in the entry. And the judges, Deborah will attest, you can't go off looking for more information because you know it's there. You can only go on what's in front of you. So I'd really encourage everyone to just put in some really great work, put in some time on writing their entry. You mentioned that commit 12 hours. So I'm just going to do a bit of a shameless plug actually, because Forward Ladies, we do a power hour once every single day, Monday and Friday at 12 and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 9. We can just dial in with us on Zoom. You don't have to put your camera on or your microphone on. It's just to do some really focused work. The time's in your diary. It's blocked off for people to commit, do whatever they want really. They can do some writing or catch up on an email or write a report that they've really been putting off. But this would be a really great way to commit that time to get your award drafted and really block it off and put it in as awards writing time, so that
that can be eating those frogs on those
yes power absolutely hours. Have your breakfast first.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to be involved today. I hope everybody's got loads from it. Like I said, we've got the takeaway slides and things that we can send on. This is being recorded, so there will be opportunities to view it again, just to go over anything if anybody's missed anything as well. So yeah.
Exactly. Lovely. Thanks, Lucinda, and thanks, Deborah, as well, and Carlotta as well. And I hope to see all your entries very, very soon. Okay, take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.